Giving Tuesday. I don't know if anybody's heard that one before, but it is indeed Giving Tuesday, one of the biggest days of the year for philanthropy and charitable giving. And this afternoon, Michael and Susan Dell are committing to one of the largest private donations in American history, which will directly benefit the next generation of American children through the new Trump Accounts program that we created in our One Big Beautiful Bill. And Michael and Susan came to see me along with Brad, and they said, this is an idea. And I said, I think, it sounded just so good and so unique. But that's why he's been so successful, and they've been so successful in life and in business because they're unique. Trump Accounts will be the first, I guess you could say, real trust funds for every American child, allowing family members, employers, corporations, generous donors to contribute money that will be invested and grow over the course of a child's life to be used for their benefit after they turn 18. So in other words, these are children that are going to, an investment's going to be made. That investment's going to continue to grow, we hope, right? We hope. And, but it will, and they'll feel like Michael Dell someday. But at 18, they'll have a lot of money, a lot more money than they would have had, and potentially a lot of money. But these accounts will track the overall stock market and will be 100% private property controlled by the child's guardians. In honor of America's 250th anniversary, the Dells are announcing today that they are giving 25 million American children $250 each to save and to invest in their personal Trump account. Now, that's the equivalent of $6.25 billion. In other words, to put it succinctly, Michael and Susan are giving $6.25 billion in total, and as a total contribution.
The government is going to set up this program that was put in place by the Invest America Act that was passed on July 4th earlier this year. And every newborn will get $1,000 starting for kids born in 2025 and going through to 2028. And hopefully the government will continue with that. What my wife and I have decided to do is for the kids that are under 10 years old that are not included in the government program, so the sort of 2 to 10-year-olds that live in zip codes where the median income is less than $150,000, we'll be giving 25 million of those kids $250 to start their Invest America accounts. And of course, these accounts can be used when the child turns 18. It becomes like an IRA. They can use it for education, for starting a business, for buying a home, for starting a family, for continued savings. And look, we know that when kids have accounts like this, they're way more likely to graduate from high school, to go on to college and graduate, to, buy a home and be successful adults that participate in our economy. And so we're super excited about this. And I've spoken with other philanthropists, and I'm confident that we'll see some other major gifts, maybe not exactly designed the way ours is, but we know that this is a platform now for companies to contribute and match the government's contribution. Certainly that's something Dell and many other companies have already said that we're going to do. Families can contribute, friends, and of course, communities, other philanthropists.
This is how these accounts will work, and how others, as we've been saying, can get involved in them. The parents can contribute up to $5,000 annually. Employers can contribute up to $2,500. And this is just one point I want to make here that I know you would want us to highlight. This is pre-tax income, okay?
The vehicle matters here.
So this lowers, you and your spouse make a certain amount of money. If you give your child $5,000, you take that out of your pre-tax income. So it lowers your taxable income and allows you to pass it on to your child.
It's not just good for the kid. Everybody who contributes to this is getting a benefit from it. And again, it's not, we're making you do it. we're inviting you into prosperity, and that's going to be so much more motivating than any kind of tax requirement the government's going to put on you.
So nice of the Dell family, of the two of them, to give this money to help every American child born this year or in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it's remarkable. It is also, I think, the largest contribution to American children in history.
Really.
And what's amazing about this Dell announcement is that it's on top of the Trump accounts. So it shows you the power of investment. So the Trump accounts, which we're expecting more details on today, that was in the big, beautiful bill. The idea being $1,000 to get kids off on the right start. But it only has 2025 to 2028. The Dell announcement includes kids today who are 10 and under.
Really?
So kids that are already born, to say, hey, we want to help you as well. So
wait. So 10 and under, I would apply because I have a 10-year-old. So they're going to give every American family, is that right? $1,000?
No. So theirs is less than $1,000. The Trump accounts is $1,000.
Got it, right.
This is an additional investment. It seems that some of the money will go to kids that are born today.
Okay.
But they're also helping to cover kids that are already here to say, because of course the goal and part of this is to get kids off on the right foot. It's also to encourage families to say you can have kids. Because we're seeing these conversations, and I see this in my reporting. Young people feel that life is too expensive. They're worried about having kids and affording them. So this is a leg up. Something else when it comes to financial education that's so important with these Trump accounts. One, you now see more investments like the Dells. Huge. On top of it, it's just barriers to entry. When you have that account set up, $1,000, you can contribute annually up to $5,000. But we know a lot of families can't do that. But if they can do $100 a year, because the account is already set up, it starts, the hardest part of finance is just getting in. Opening that account.
Even
and
if
the
you
Trump
don't
accounts are going to do that.
Just want you to look at this. Nobody has ever done anything like this. There is not a single Democrat, if they say anything about this, if there's anything negative, just delete them and move on. They're idiots. At age 18, you will get based on current numbers, $191,000 at 18. Well, Barry, I'm not sure if that's really true. We might not get 191. All right. How about maybe 50? How about 60, 70? If the projection is 191 and it falls short, then, you might have less. But it's still more than you have now. Or conversely, since I like to look at investments as growing, as appreciating, what happens if the market and the ancillary things around it do even better? If there's presidents unlike the socialists, if we have Republican presidents, what if that number grows to 250 or 300,000? When's the last time somebody handed you a check for a couple $100,000 at 18? I'll wait. Then, if you leave it as a retirement account, you're going to have 2 million, 2.2 by the time you turn 60. God willing, you get there. But I think you have to see at this point what this is all about. This is probably an idea that was hatched to replace Social Security. Notice, every child born. So by the time this thing prospers, they won't have the need for Social Security. Some of you guys right now are on Social Security. You might be making $1,500 a month. You paid all your life into Social Security, and you get $1,500, $2,000 a month. Whereas this program, you'll be cashing a check for $2.2 million. Now, understanding the cost of living and everything else rises along with it, the value of that dollar in year 2085 might be only worth half of that. Still, it's $1 million. There's no downside here. How is there no downside? Because you're not putting anything into it. So if everything is an upside, how can you possibly complain? So this is how it's going to work. Let me show you this. This is how it's going to work. All right. Your account with $1,000 from the U.S. government for babies. Right there. It says invested in select stocks and ETFs. It is tax-free until withdrawn at the age of 18. So you're not paying any taxes on that money the entire time that it's appreciating. Then at 18, if you decide to cash in, then you have to pay your taxes if taxes are a thing by the time you're 18. Remember, President Trump said today that he's looking to do away with taxes. Oh yeah, did you forget that? I'm sure the media won't talk about it. You wake up, smack, drink a cup of coffee. We've been here for 4 hours, almost 5 hours. Don't forget what he said. He said, hey, I'm going to try and do away with taxes. So it's possible by the time you turn 18, so that you can grab that money, there might not be any taxes. Who's eligible? U.S. citizens, United States citizens, no illegals, born 2025 to 2028, no income limit. So 2025, 2028, meaning at the end of his presidency, which probably is because that's when someone else would have to get elected, J.D. Vance or whatever, and then do it again. You must have a Social Security number. I'm pretty sure it must have a valid Social Security number. None of this stuff that was given to the newcomers. Pretty simple approval process. Were you born here? Do you have a Social Security number? You're in. You get an account. Your babies are going to have more money than some people their parents got. Imagine that. Imagine that there are some people in the hood or anywhere, Appalachia, who their babies got $1,000 in their account when they get born. $1,000. But it doesn't have to stop there. This is where grandparents can do things as well. Parents can contribute up to $5,000 annually. Employers can contribute up to $2,500 annually, and money can be withdrawn at age 18 for education and other qualifying uses. After 18, the account functions like a traditional IRA. So, if you don't know what an IRA is, this entire program is now going to make you, almost compel you, as a grandparent and a parent, to begin understanding what prosperity means and financial literacy. See, that whole thing I just said in that like 2.5 minutes of discussing it may go flying over some people's heads. They know that. That's why they create a website. Go to the website. If you're not understanding what's a traditional IRA, go look that up. What would be the tax basis of somebody when they turn 18? Go look it up. What is the concept of compound interest? Go look it up. Everybody always complains that they don't have any money, but what happens when you do have money? You see, this is to build wealth. And it doesn't say white, doesn't say black, doesn't say person with blue hair. It's a baby at this point. And what it's also going to do is incentivize people having babies. Because one of the biggest things people and parents have, they're like, I can't afford to have a baby. I don't want to be on food stamps. I don't want to be a ward of a state. I don't want to do all that. I don't want to have a baby removal process. I feel like I'm being forced to because I can't afford it. And now you're going to look at this and go, wait a second. So I'm going to be changing diapers and stuff for a while, but when this kid turns 18, he's getting a big chunk of cash. Oh, I think I could handle this. I can handle the diapers and the crying and everything else for the next 18 years. As those of you who are parents know, it doesn't end when you're 18. In some instances, it just begins when somebody turns 18. But in any event, your 18-year-old child, as they're going off to college, is going out the door with a couple $100,000. And then there may be people here saying, well, it's not guaranteed. Why are people going to try and find any reason to attack this? Why would anybody in the chat have any reason to have a problem with this? When you're starting from zero and somebody else is investing in your future, just say thank you. That's how people have to look at it. Somebody else is funding my child. And he doesn't have to do anything but sit there and breathe and poop and spit up. And he's got $1,000 that's just going to keep growing and could grow faster if you, put into it as well. See? Parents, grandparents can contribute up to $5,000 annually. So if you have a bit more money, well, let me throw an extra $5,000 into Jimmy's account here, or Susie's account. Susie, hey, you looking good there? Yeah. Yeah, okay, here's $5,000. Granddad gave you. So now that 1,000 that was going to turn into 191 at 18, they end up being $1 million at 18. See, once you start learning about compound interest, now your light bulb should be going off. But here, let me go back to that picture. Since you now know they're going to contribute 1,000, and you can put in as much as you want. I mean, not as much as you want, but $5,000 every year. Then you end up with that. So if this is the projection of $1,000, $191,000. A one-time pop of $1,000 in 18 years should be worth $191. So you're a little bit better off than some parents or grandparents. And you say, you know what, let's put $3,000 this year. Let's put $8,000 the year after that. Your kid at 18 is going to turn 18 on their birthday, and depending on that, whether you told them or not, I'm like, hey, Mom, the bank's about to close. We need to take a ride because I'm about to cash out about $300,000. Thank you very much. What a better way to teach prosperity. Now it's forced prosperity. Imagine that, having to force people to become financially literate. And if you choose not to, it doesn't matter because your kid's going to get it either way. So the only drawback at this point is that certain people won't take the time to educate themselves. But in any event, that's not a drawback for the kid. The kid's still getting paid. How can anybody have a problem with it? I'm almost scared to look in the chat. I'm like, do I dare look over there? Do I? Please don't tell me people have a problem with this. Oh gosh, what do we? If you never start investing, having 18 years is a sure thing. Exactly. What do we got in here? It's funny. I love when people say stuff like this. Stop talking about that dumb red pill from a stupid movie. Okay, you can check out. Meanwhile, these people are about to get $192,000. Yeah, good for you. Yes, anyone under 18 are eligible. If born January 1st, 2025, they get the $1,000 startup. The Democrats are busy pushing baby removal instead of population growing. It's great to have money for them when they turn 18. Yeah, exactly. Well, how can you have a problem with this? The important thing is to educate the child so they won't squander it. Yep, that's on you. That's on you. Yeah, Francis, I don't know. I haven't seen many. I don't understand why people could possibly be upset about this program. Maybe jealous. Maybe that's what it really is. Let's see here. Most people don't make $150K a year unless people learn how to manage money. They'll just waste it. Well, then you need to show them. You see, that's not a negative for the child. That's a negative for the parent. If you know one or two of your kids are gonna, by the time they turn 18, are gonna sit on, a couple $100,000, that's on you. That's on you to make sure. Well, I need to put them in a program so that they understand where they're going to be. Man, this is crazy. It's crazy. There they are, jealous and gotta hate to feel better. Yeah, I mean, understanding, you're an older person, you've grown up, and maybe that pisses people off, but man, why would you be upset that children are going to grow and have something, a nest egg? All of them. Not one, two, white, black, all of them. This is a great way to teach kids about capitalism and wealth, and that's going to be the problem. They don't want children and their parents knowing about wealth building. Oh yeah, there's not even some people in here who don't like me talking about wealth building. They don't want to even know. But now here's the problem. The problem is the anti-prosperity, anti-socialist crowd, anti-capitalism crowd, some of them are going to have babies. They're lefties. They're losers. Well, that baby's got to be making money. That baby now has an account. I don't even know if this is something you refuse. Why would you refuse this? Oh, Trump's giving babies money. I don't want my child to have Trump money. All right, give it to the other kid in the nursery because your kid's going to be doomed.